Part 4. So, Professor Marcus, one thing I learned it was how to stitch a zipper with the very soft tulle fabric, which was, and how to stitch a soft tulle fabric, which was very interesting to me because um, I always wanted to learn how they do it. I've never worked with a sheer such a sheer fabric before. Um, Here, I used it. I made this tool double. I doubled it, and when I doubled it and I stitched it all around, and then I did it like a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then I stitched one more line, and I opened it, I pressed it, and then I folded it again, and then I stitched it on top of the seam allowance, but very close to the first stitch again, and then I took a small scissor and I cut whatever remained of the seam allowance. So there's a double stitch because one stitch, my friend told me it wouldn't hold, so it would have given much cleaner line if you use a double row stitch on this knot, because if you use a one stitch, it will be bubbly. Even if you cut this seam allowance, it doesn't look nice, so we have to make sure the seam allowance doesn't show. So we do a double stitch here and we just cut the rest of the seam allowance here, also for the neck as well, and for here as well. And here, the zipper part, I saw it was a bit confusing. You would just sandwich the zipper inside the net. So we don't need to use a bias tape to cover the zipper anymore. And it wouldn't look nice with a bias tape. This is a much nicer finish. You just sandwich the zipper inside the tool, and you just put it on the zipper foot like this, and you just stitch it like a sandwich. So the rest of the zipper, it will be inside this soft net, which I didn't know before. The lining, with the same way that we always do lining, it has the understitch here and it has the understitch here, and I did the rest of it with hand, and here we did a slip stitch, and the zipper, the normal way that we do the zipper. Oh, the only thing that I didn't do here, I thought about it. I thought first, okay, let's just put these folds that completely, each of them, stitch them in, closed all of these layers with the zipper, okay? But then not only it would have gotten too thick, but it would have been also very ugly. It wouldn't look nice at all. So what I decided to do, which was very difficult, is that I decided that the zipper would come until here. So for these to open, for these two, I didn't want them to stitch it with the zipper. So I actually closed these. At first, before all of them, they were hanging, okay, because I wasn't sure exactly, and I needed to be able to adjust the waist as much as I want to. At a point, it was too thin, too small, so I had to leave allowance. So I closed them here. I closed all of them here. Like when I decided about the size, I just cut them and I just made a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and I just closed these and then stitched them here. After I closed it at the zipper, because I wanted them to be separate. I wanted all of them to be separate. I didn't want them to be sewn with the zipper like this, to be closed. They have to be open, right? Like these, that they are open. They have to have this open flow. So I closed here. I closed them at the end here from inside, and I left it loose. But I did a hand stitch. I did a slip stitch, and I closed a little bit of each of them at the beginning and left it open, because all of them open didn't look nice, because they would turn away from the zipper and it didn't look nice. So they had to stay with the zipper, but they have to also flow out. So I stitched a little bit with hand after I finished the zipper. I stitched a little bit with hand and I let it go. I stitched a little bit with hand and I let it go. Stitched a bit with hand and let it go till here. Here it was, I died at this section. It was so messy. I mean, like, seriously, it was like very difficult. Here I completely stitched it with hand. Here I did it with the machine until here, but the rest of it here, Bridget before showed us how to attach two fabrics, two layers with hand. We go like I did this from the inside. I stitched this with hand, this section, and I stitched this with hand. I did a slip stitch with hand. I couldn't do it with a machine. I had to do it, finish it with hand. So basically this is it. I took a lot of pictures last night, which I'm gonna send all of it to you. Basically, yes, this is it. I'm going to just take some pictures more from the layers and like of details if you wish, and just you know, just for your reference. And please do let me know if there is anything, if I'm missing about the construction, and I will definitely include it in another tape or email or picture. Professor Marcus, thank you so much for understanding me and helping me out. It was a very hard time for me, and truly I wasn't myself when I was in New York. I was so lost, depressed, and very in a very bad place. But you gave me a chance to recover and do my work, which means a lot. So thank you very much. Bye.